you straight off the hip. Another live episode of Car Chronicles, episode number 26. This time I'm gonna go straight live, stay raw, uncut. You gotta get it how you live. Disclaimer: I am not a relationship guru. I just come from a common sense point of view. I never claim to be a guru of any type of relationship topics. I just come from a place of experience and common sense. That is my disclaimer when I talk about relationships. All right then. All right, first things first. Man, there was article that came out, not even article, but something that came out today that went viral. Blueface told a story that Megan Thee Stallion gave him some of that yum yum, and he bent her over and gave her the decon. That's what he gave her, the decon. And he told a story about it. So it kind of went viral today that it came out, and Blueface was talking about after, Megan got shot by Tory Lanez. He said they was kicking it, and he said he wanted to make her feel better. So he said he bent her over, gave her some of that decon, and she gave him some of that umwale. You already know what I'm talking about. But it was funny. Blueface is always a funny character. He's one of my favorite rappers when it comes to just being funny, because he say a lot of funny stuff in his lyrics. Even though Blueface is not the most lyrical person, but he's a character. So and here's one thing I want to say, fellas. Don't wife up a chick that has a horrible past. If you run into a chick and you always finding out that she had a past, that's gonna make you look like a goofball. I know some women gonna say, well, the past is the past and all of that. Yeah, the past is the past, but sometimes the past can come back and bite you. Like, I'll give you a prime example. I knew a couple girls I went to college with, high school with, that had trains ran on them and all the craziness that happened to them, and had multiple sexual partners, and then they tried to be wifey material, and it backfired on them, and then it just didn't work out, and then whatever dude they was dating made them look like a goofball. And then here's how I feel: if you're gonna be a hoe in silent, ladies. Like, just be a hoe in silent. Do the ultimate cheat code. Move out of your home city, your home state. If you was starting it up in your city, move out of that city and start over fresh. That's the ultimate cheat code, because you know why? Most people ain't gonna know about you when you move to a new city. Now you have a fresh start. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Now since Klay Thompson been with Megan Thee Stallion, he got to hear all of this craziness. And I know Klay's sitting there shaking his head, and then he's trying to defend his girl. But that man, like I said before, that man googly-eyed it. He's like Doug Funny. That's what Klay remind me of. He remind me of the black Doug Funny. The nigga googly-eyed it. Every time he talks about Megan, the hearts come out of his eyes. The little theme music be playing in the background. If you ever watch Doug, that's how old I am. Doug came out back in 92, 93. If any of y'all watch Doug, and every time Doug talk about Patty, that nigga will have hella hearts coming out of his eyes and shit. So that's how Klay is when it comes to Megan Thee Stallion. He done moved her into the crib. He trying to make her a wife. And but her past is creeping up. It's all over the media. And people will say, well, she got money and he got money. Yeah, that's true, but think about it. You sleeping next to somebody knowing they got a horrible past, and it start to irritate you because every time you see something on the internet, it's something about their past. And I know some females, like I said before, they'll say, oh, the past is the past. But I always ask ladies this: would you date a man that had 5 kids, about 4 baby mamas, a history of domestic violence, and he was a dope boy and went to jail a couple times? Will you date a guy like that? 95% of the females will say no. 5%, the ones that say yes, they're stupid as hell. They'll say, yes, I'll date a straight nigga like that. It goes for guys too when you come to your past. I knew a dude that had 8 kids by 7 baby mamas. And then females will find out when he got 8 kids by 7 baby mamas, they run because that past caught up to him. And then even though some people might say, well, he taking care of his kids and all of that. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, shout out to Erica in the chat. Shout out to Orange Juice in the chat. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. Megan Thee Stallion, even though she looked nice, she's a nice looking woman, but her past is really making her look stupid, and is making Klay Thompson look like a goofball. Because let's just be real, anybody, both genders, male, female, don't want to date somebody with a horrible past. And I don't care what people say. You ask the average person that, they don't want to date nobody with a horrible past. They don't. But yeah, it is what it is. It is kind of funny how Clay's out here looking stupid. But yeah. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to sports now. I know some people was watching football this past Sunday, and Shedeur Sanders went against the 49ers, and the 49ers dominated them. And I think the score was like, what? I think it was like 27 to 8, something like that. And Shedeur, he threw like maybe like 150 yards, something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. But he threw like 150 yards and had 1 TD, and that's it. If you watch the tape, Shedeur did not do a bad job. He pretty much stuck to the script, did his plays. It just, you got to understand, the 49ers are a way better team than the Browns. The only thing that the Browns got going for them is they have a top 10 defense, but they got a bottom 5 offense. And Shedeur is trying to make things work. And I know some of these folks, they're gonna say, Shedeur, see, I told you he wasn't gonna do so good. I told you that. I told you. And I'll be looking at him like, shut the fuck up. That's how I be feeling. Because there be some people be saying that. Shedeur did bad. He played horribly. He didn't throw for 300 yards. Shedeur's a rookie. He's a rookie, so he's going to have those rookie woes. And think about it. This is his second NFL game. His second NFL game. So people got to understand, Shedeur is not going to be a Hall of Famer in 1 year. Look at Tom Brady. Look at Tom Brady. Look at his first 2 games. Tom Brady, I don't think he did great in his first 2 NFL games playing. Look at Jordan Love when he played his first 2 NFL games. He didn't do so good. So did Aaron Rodgers, Alex Smith, Ben Roethlisberger. The list goes on and on. Shedeur only played 2 NFL games. And yes, Shedeur has moxie. He has a lot of confidence in himself. But you got to understand, when you play professional sports, all that humble shit goes out the window. And I know people is wondering how I know that. If you ever ask a professional athlete about that, they'll tell you, you got to come in there with confidence. If not, the media will eat your confidence up and your opponent will eat your confidence up. You can't come in there as the humble Joe. I got to put my head down, I'm going to work and all of that. No, you got to come in. Look at Kobe Bryant. You know what made Kobe so great? His confidence and his will to work. His will to work and his confidence. Watch those old documentaries of Kobe where they talk about him in his rookie year. Where Kobe's coach, who was, I think it was Donnie Nelson, whoever it was, I forgot who was Kobe's coach in rookie year. It wasn't Phil Jackson, I'll say that. I think Kobe got Phil around his second or third year. But Kobe had to come in with the confidence, with the swagger, with the arrogance. And people will say Kobe was arrogant. No, it wasn't that Kobe was arrogant. Kobe realized he could outwork everybody. He was in the gym first. He was in the gym last. He was putting in extra work as a rookie. And then Kobe knew that I should be better than you because I put more work than you. So Kobe was, even LeBron, look at LeBron. LeBron was arrogant, and he still is. You gotta understand, if you're dealing with professional athletes, 95% of these athletes are arrogant. Some of them, like, let's just be real, when you meet them in person, some of them what give you they'll put on this facade that they're humble, they keep their head down, and they're a people person. But behind the scenes, most of them are jerks. Most of those athletes are arrogant. They feel like nobody can whoop them, all of that. So I'm just saying. So before you start criticizing Shedeur Sanders, you got to understand, he has to come in with that confidence. If not, the NFL will eat him up alive. Remember, the NFL do not stand for National Football League. It stands for not for long. Because not for long, you'll be out of there. Remember, the average NFL career is 3 years. That means most rookies that get drafted, they're out of there by their rookie contract. Because most of these rookie contracts are 3 years with a 4th year option. So if you don't pan out within your first 3 years being a rookie in the NFL, guess what? You're not going to get that 4th year option, or you're not going to get re-signed to that team. They just going to cut you because your rookie contract is so cheap, they can just cut you and it won't hurt their salary cap. So that's why you got to come in with that confidence, with that moxie. Yeah, so this is what I always say about Shedeur. I feel like Shedeur, once he get a full off season of him just working and keeping his head down, oh, he's going to be better. But what's so crazy is it's going to take the Browns getting rid of Stefanski and also benching Midget as Dylan Gabriel. And here's the thing. Let me say this about Dylan Gabriel. And I know I debated with somebody before, and they told me this. They said Dylan Gabriel is better than Shedeur Sanders because he has more Power 5 experience in the Power 5 system. Okay, Dylan Gabriel might know more plays. He might know more schemes. He might know more systems because he played in that Power 5 system. Yes, okay, Dylan Gabriel he has more experience in the Power 5. Yeah, but people don't understand. Shedeur is a damn legend. He was the top quarterback in the HBCU system, which is the FCS. And then he went to FBS and became a top 5 quarterback in the FBS system. So you got to understand, if you and people be looking down on the FCS schools, which is the HBCUs, and then the mid-major schools, because FCS schools is not just HBCU, it's also mid-major colleges too that are also in the D1 system. So you got to understand, there are a lot of dogs in the FCS system. It just, FBS is the Power 5 system. The FCS is the mid-majors and the small D1s. You gotta understand, there's dogs at FCS. If you played in schools like Montana or Jackson State, Pine Bluff, or if you played in UAB, or if you played in other schools like SIU, EIU, those are like, yeah, those are smaller schools. Those are smaller schools, but a lot of those schools got dogs. Look, here's the funny thing. Nobody didn't say that shit about Josh Allen. Josh Allen played for Wyoming. Wyoming is a FCS school. They are not a FBS. Nobody never said that shit about Josh Allen. Not one person. It's funny how people have selective memory on who they gonna talk about. Josh Allen won the MVP last year. He came from Wyoming, a FCS school that never really played in Power 5 schools. And I know some people will say, well, Trey Lance came from, yeah, Trey Lance came from a school, which is North Dakota, where they was a D2 school for a long time. People forget, the school Trey Lance came from, they dominated D3, then they dominated D2, and they now just get with the D1. And guess what? And that school Trey Lance came from, which is North Dakota, they got a long ways to go. So y'all gotta be careful what y'all talk about. So give Shador some time, you know, it'll work out for him. All right, let me get off of Shador. Next thing, I'm gonna talk about my Lakers. Now, I know everybody been watching the LA Lakers. The Lakers are 15-4. Luka is tearing it up, averaging 32 a game. Austin Reeves is averaging 25, 27 a game. And LeBron now just coming back. And I said this before. I said when LeBron comes back, he's going to fit in like Draymond. That's what I said before. He's going to have that Draymond effect. The only difference is LeBron's going to be scoring more than Draymond. Because, you know, Draymond averaged like 4 points a game as a starter, which is horrible. LeBron, I can see where LeBron is playing. I can see LeBron averaging 20 points a game. He's going to rev it up. Even though he only played 3 games this year. I can see by the end of the year, LeBron's going to at least average 20 a game, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. He's going to be in that Draymond playmaking role, that defensive anchor. Even though he's old, he's 47 years old in NBA years, but I can see LeBron doing that. And Laker fans, do not dismiss LeBron. Y'all going to need LeBron in the playoffs, because y'all gotta understand, Luka is good. He's great. Austin Reeves is good and great. But look what happened when they get their ass cooked every year in the playoffs. Now Luka had a great run the year prior, going to the finals. I give that to Luka. Austin Reeves, every year they in the playoffs, they get their asses cooked. Remember, look what happened to Austin Reeves when he played against Ant-Man. Ant-Man cooked that boy. He cooked him. And Austin Reeves was looking like garbage. Pure trash, pure garbage. So yeah. Oh yeah, you love big women. but yeah, you know, some people gotta understand, like, Austin Reeves is not, you know what, let me say this. Austin Reeves to me is overrated. even though he's having a quote-unquote all-star year, he's overrated. I'm gonna tell you who Austin Reeves is. He's fucking Gordon Hayward with 2K badges. That's it. If you go on NBA 2K and you add some badges to Gordon Hayward, that's Austin motherfucking Reeves. That's who he is. He's Gordon Hayward with 2K badges. Special 2K badges. So that's who Austin Reeves is. And then, you know, I remember one of my friends, he tried to argue with me and say, you got a problem with Austin Reeves because he's white. No, it's not that. If I had a problem with Austin Reeves because he's white, then I would have had a problem with Luka, and Luka's one of my favorite players. I always said Luka's maybe the closest thing to Larry Bird from a scoring standpoint. But Austin Reeves is just overrated. He's like, Austin Reeves is doing good because he's working in a system. If you put Austin Reeves in another system, he would not be as successful he is. Yeah, he can hoop. The boy can hoop. Yes, Austin Reeves can hoop. But it doesn't matter in the regular season. What matters is in the playoffs. Like I said before, when they played against Denver, Jamal Murray cooked that boy. He gave him work. And then that next year, they played against Minnesota. Ant-Man cooked that boy. Ant-Man gave that man work. He worked that boy. So before y'all start saying Austin Reeves is that guy, let's see if he gonna cook Ant-Man or cook Jamal Murray, because the Lakers is gonna run into one of those teams in the playoffs. They're gonna run into either Denver or they're gonna run into Minnesota in the second round. Whoever they play in the first round, I already know the Lakers gonna smoke them in 5 games. Lakers gonna smoke whoever in the first round. That second round is Denver. It's gonna be Denver or Minnesota. And let's see if Austin Reeves is gonna get cooked again. Let's see, because I want to see this. Also, it's been a lot of stuff going on in the NBA, and this is one of those years that, it's a lot of stuff. Like Chris Paul retiring, even though Chris Paul is like 55 years old. And he about to retire, and he's retiring with the team that he started with. Well, he didn't really start with the Clippers. He got the point guard nod with the Clippers. So, and I think here's my thing on Chris Paul. I felt like Chris Paul, he should have re-signed back with the Clippers after that situation with Phoenix. After he had that situation with Phoenix with Monty Williams, he should have left and went straight to the Clippers. He should have went back to the Clippers, because all the Clippers need was a decent point guard. Because what Paul George and Kawhi Leonard was missing was a point guard. And Chris Paul had enough in the tank to make a finals run. Like, if Chris Paul would have just went back to the Clippers, to me, 4 years earlier, I think the Clippers would have made a deep run in the playoffs. Yes, people are going to say Chris Paul has an injury history. He always get hurt during the playoffs, which that always hold the team back. So is Kawhi, so is Paul George. But you would at least see what they could do with Chris Paul as the point guard. Because that was the biggest problem with the Clippers. They did not have a point guard to facilitate the ball. They didn't. They had everything. They had a 6-man. Excuse me. They had a 6-man. They had a shooting guard. They had a small forward. They had a big man. They had a good power forward. They had a bench. But they was missing one thing, and that was a point guard. Yeah, you tried Norman Powell at the point. It didn't fucking work, really. Norman Powell is a shooting guard. Yeah, you tried all this other thing, but that was the thing they was missing, was a point guard. Imagine in 2022, imagine in 2022, Chris Paul go back to Clippers, and you got Kawhi and Paul George. Kawhi don't have to bring the ball up anymore. Paul George don't have to bring the ball up. Chris Paul can put them in their spots because Kawhi's going to want it at the elbow in the mid-range. Paul George is going to want it at the top of the key or at the other side of the elbow. And they can both just go to work. See, that's what a difference can make. Let's just say this. Chris Paul's vision would have created more shots for other players. Also would have made Kawhi and Paul George better in the aspect of moving without the ball, because they never really don't move without the ball. So I think that was the only thing the Clippers was missing. So yeah, it just unfortunate Chris Paul is retiring, and he's going out sad, averaging 2 points a game. And I wish Chris Paul could just go to a team. I wish Chris Paul would have went to a championship team, do like Sam Cassell and Gary Payton did. You go out on a high note winning the championship. That's what Sam Cassell and Gary Payton did. Gary Payton won a ring with Miami, and Sam Cassell won a ring with Boston. People forgot Sam Cassell was on that 08 Boston team, but he was a bench player at that time. He was like 30-something, 37 years old at that time. That would have been very good. That would have been very cool to see Chris Paul go out like that, winning a championship. But yeah. But all right. Like, comment, and subscribe. Also, I just want to thank everybody who's been subscribed to my channel. 1,600 followers. I need 400 more to reach that 2,000 mark. This your boy, Mitch TV. I'm out.